Okay, is she gone? Right, hello there and welcome to A Fistful of Free Speech with Zeb Purcell. Right now there's a rapidly evolving situation happening around me. I'll fill you in on what I know. Right, we had a guest booked in for today's show. Some little kid who's getting bullied at school for singing like a girl. But he has been bumped because, and I don't mind saying that, even with his parents in earshot, we got a much better offer. Don't let him go, Tiz. No, don't let him go. No, we paid them for the whole thing. They'll stay for the whole thing. I don't care. Buy them a chocolate bar. Right, here's what the fuck's going on. A few weeks ago, during an episode of this show, I got back in contact with my long-lost mother, who, as we know, fucked off with my dad when I was 8 to join a cult. She says it's not a cult, but in my mind, if there's that many white men with long hair and BO in one place, it can only be one of three things. It's a Metallica concert, it's a Green Party rally, or it's a fucking cult. Now, I'd always assumed that her and my dad were living, I don't know, in a field somewhere in California, wearing flowy dresses and drinking milk straight from a cow's udder. But it turns out, my dad, dead, and for the past few years, my mum's been living above and working in Chinese restaurant in Peckham. She was heading into work one day when she overheard the Chinese cooks laughing at a clip on their phone. A clip of someone who was justifiably very scared when they thought a professional boxer was going to rip them a new arsehole. That arsehole was my arsehole. Weird way of saying it was me. And my mum recognised my voice and decided she wanted to get in touch. Since then, we've been chatting on the phone every 7 days, a week. Don't know why I said it like that. I think I'm nervous, to be honest. And she's just now agreed to meet me in person for the first time in 14 years here on A Fistful of Free Speech with Zeb Purcell. I'm going to be honest, guys. Don't know if you can tell. I'm bricking it. But I'm also excited, and dare I say, I'm even a little bit happy to be seeing her. But we don't know how it's going to go. So, in case the conversation does get too heated and tempers start to fly, for my mother's protection and my own, Steph has been given a pepper spray and been told she can use it on either of us liberally. So, while we wait for her to arrive in an Uber paid for reluctantly by Enjoy Productions, it feels apt to share with you a brief history of the early life of Zeb, from my conception to leaving me with my grandparents on New Year's Eve. This has been made possible because, by a complete stroke of luck, I've been writing a lot of this shit down anyway for when I publish my autobiography, www.worldwidezeb. Here we go. It was the year 1990, which actually people might know as being the shittest year of all time for loads of reasons, right? John Major took over from Margaret Thatcher, which plunged the country into economic fucking disarray. Built a Channel Tunnel, which made it easier for the fucking French to come over where the fuck they wanted to. And it was the first ever comic relief, which, unfortunately, paved the way for even more comic reliefs. But there was one thing that people had hope for, right? Glastonbury 1990. So it was on a warm June evening at the biggest festival in the UK. 2 young people would share an evening that would change their lives and start mine. In a crowd of almost 70,000 people, 2 of them would be drawn together. Those people, Jason Purcell and Luna Bluebell, aka my mum and dad. These 2 young lovers met, decided they liked each other, and conceived me all in the space of about 15 minutes. In a way, the thought of a very, very baby me being shot out of my dad's dick like a bullet from a gun, swimming up my mum's vagina, and finding comfort in the safe refuge of her womb, all to the sound of Nothing Compares to You by a pre-Muslim Sinead O'Connor, is, and I'm sure you'll agree, a very touching image. The festival ended quite shortly after that when 235 travellers were arrested for nicking 50 grand's worth of stuff. That's not a joke, it actually happened, look it up. After that, they went back to their individual lives, thinking the 2 would never see each other again. And why would they? I mean, it was just a quick case of wham bam, thank you ma'am, and thanks for all the ham. But on this occasion, that wasn't the end of the story. There was more ham. Sure enough, 9 months later, who's that at the doorbell? Ding dong, it's little baby River. That's me, by the way. I used to be called River before they changed it because it was stupid. For the first 2 years, my mother looked after me entirely on her own, as her parents, my grandparents, were tragically killed in the Ufa train disaster in 1989. Now, what the fuck was they doing on the Koy-Bishev Railway in the Soviet Union in the late 80s? I'll probably never know. But my mum raised me all on her own until I was 2 years old. And by complete chance, she bumped into my dad when he served her at a table at a Little Chef on the M2. They decided they'll give it a go. So we moved into a flat together in Maidstone, Kent. Now, if you haven't been to Maidstone, Kent, here's a metaphor. If Kent is the Garden of England, then Maidstone's a compost bin full of eggshells with a load of stagnant water going all green on top that smells of shit. However, to little baby Zeb, Maidstone was home. Dad got a job as a builder, and Mum got a job in a Chinese restaurant. That's not a coincidence, by the way. She fucking loves Chinese restaurants. I never knew this at the time, right? But Mum and Dad, they weren't very happy. Both of them was quite weird, right? And being thrust into a normal family life was definitely taking its toll on them. They wanted more, and also at the same time less, like they didn't want me around. In 1995, my mum started attending free coffee mornings at the Scout Hut. On the surface, just a way for the local community to gather and talk shit about the ones that weren't there. But in fact, These meetings had a hidden agenda. They was being financed and run by an organisation known as Celestial Dawn, or as I call it, the Celestial Dawn Cult. They invited her to a weekend getaway, and although I didn't know what happened, she came back absolutely revitalised, and also wearing someone else's clothes. Next month she went again, this time with my dad in tow, and I was deposited at my granddad's house, a place I'd soon become intimately familiar with. At those retreats, I guess they, refound themselves or something, so they kept going back every month. And this carried on until December 31st, 1999. I remember because the school was having a Millenium celebration, which was fucking brilliant, right? Because I could stay out with my friends until 12 o'clock PM, eating sweets and dancing to S Club 7. Fucking magical. And my first kiss that night too, with a girl that's now a man. Yeah. The night went by like a flash, great night, and soon it was time for me to be collected. And as I sat in the school hall waiting for my parents, hours into the new millennium, I had a sudden feeling something wasn't right. Something felt off. And I don't think it was all the sherbet dib-dabs. And I was right. Soon a Ford Fiesta arrived and my grandparents got out. I could tell that she'd been crying because of her eyes, and he'd been shouting because a vein here on his head was going fucking ballistic. They came over, sat on the floor next to me, which I remember thinking was weird at the time because Granny Carol finds it hard to get up from the floor without her floor stick. Without saying a word, Grandad Mike reached into his pocket like this and pulled out a small piece of paper, which he gave to me. Right? 8 little words, which changed my life forever. It reads, "Sorry we couldn't be better. Mum and Dad." But now, anyway, after 14 years, we're going to confront her about some of the bullshit that she's put me through. Steph.
She's about a minute away. He said if we could sing for her when she arrives.
Oh.
Amazing Grace.
Yeah, Amazing Grace is Mum's favourite. Yeah, good spot. Yes, that's great. And then after that they can go. Yeah, great. All right. Sorry, how long now would you say?
She's still about
Still
a minute
away. Yeah, it hasn't changed. All right. Thank you. Goodbye. Cool. Go, mate?
Yeah.
Solid. Nice. I'll be honest, my heart's beating quite a lot. Okay, well, just we'll wait for her to come in then, I guess. Whew. Where is she? Where is she? She's late.
I don't know how to say this. The taxi arrived.
Yeah.
But she wasn't in it.
Okay. That's weird. Maybe just give her a ring. It's probably something just wrong with her.
Or going to the voicemail. Have you sent her any money?
Yeah, just some money because her bank account was frozen. And sorry, why is this got to do with her coming?
In cash.
Yes, Steph, in cash because her bank account was frozen and she needed it for the rent. And I had to send it by courier because what's going on?
Well, Michelle went to the Chinese restaurant she works at to try and get hold of her, and they haven't heard of her. I think you've been scammed, Zeb. I'm so sorry. Oh, no, I'll...
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fear
Thanks for watching. If you want to watch more of this stuff, click on the little circle in the middle to subscribe. If you want to watch more of Fistful of Free Speech, click the video on the left. For some other random shit on this channel, video on the right. Cheers.